Hey guys, what's going on? It's Filmington. In this video, we're going to be talking about pre-ordering product and why that's usually not a good idea, not in your best interest, especially over the last few years. But with pre-ordering, what I mean is you are locking in a price to purchase a product in the future. Usually this also involves fronting a good amount of that outlay. In most cases, the entire thing, and giving that to the hobby shop or online retailer or distributor that you're doing this deal with. You know, some of you out there might have connections with people, your local card guy that might give you a very fair price where you know you're not going to get hosed. But this video is going to be mostly for the majority, those that don't have that special connection to get that wax at that super low price. And this could be for hobby boxes, hobby cases, retail boxes, even retail cases. All right, so first reason why it's usually not a good idea is because of the opportunity cost of tying up capital, whether it's 3 months, 6 months, 2 days, almost a year. There is an opportunity cost to tying up that capital, and you could be doing something else with that money. I mean, over the last 6 to 9 months, the stock market probably is in the right place, but there's other stuff you could be doing with that. With all of this inflation, increased food prices, utility prices, you could be using your money to buy some of that stuff. Or, I don't know, this isn't investment advice, but you could be shorting the real estate market or doing something else with your money. You get the point. Now, especially after you factor in that a lot of the releases have gotten delayed. So where you thought you might be getting your money tied up for 3 months or 6 months, that turns into 4 months to 9 months. Bowman Chrome's delayed, Topps Chrome is delayed, Topps Finest is delayed. Some of the releases don't even have an official date that they're targeting. It's just TBD. Bowman Draft might not come out till midway through Q1 of next year. Something they have to keep in mind when you're tying up your money. In addition to the anticipated time period, it could be quite a bit longer than that. So another reason why pre-ordering doesn't make a whole lot of sense for most people is because the distributors, the dealers, the individuals or entities that have access to this product that they're selling to you, they're going to take advantage of people that have more demand for that product. So what I mean by that is that group breakers, they need the product usually the first week of release because that's what's going to be hot. They want to fill their breaks and they want to fill them quickly and efficiently, and they want to sell as much product as possible. So they're going to be focusing on the hottest, newest releases, and it's important that they get them not on week 2, not on week 3, but the first week that all of the other dealers and shops and online retailers get the product. So the people that are setting the prices and that are selling these pre-orders to group breakers and individuals know this, and they know that they can have the price a little bit higher because there's certain people that, what I'll call it is like an asymmetrical need for the product. A typical customer might not need the product. Somebody like me, I need the product probably 1 to 4 weeks after release because of the RC explosion box that I do. So I can be a little bit more flexible, but still I need it within that first 3 to 4 weeks. And that usually means that I'd like to, if I need 3 cases, I'd like to ideally pick up 1 a little bit sooner. And that might mean pre-ordering the product. So if you don't need the product at the beginning, and if you can be flexible, then you can take advantage of the falling prices, which is what we usually see. 2 to 4 weeks after release, you start to see that product dip, especially even 30 to 60, 90 days after release. Also, you have to think about it from the standpoint of these dealers and distributors, they don't need to sell all the product via pre-order. So what they'll do is they'll put the price here, knowing that they just want to sell a little bit of it to raise some cash, maybe use that for additional releases if they're going to still be in the Fanatics ecosystem when this is all said and done. You could say that maybe they're just trying to, just be greedy and take advantage of their last few situations. But these dealers and individuals, they only need to free up a certain amount of cash flow. And they do want to sell some pre-orders, and that allows them to mitigate some risk, take some money off the table, and then reinvest it. But they can still hold that product a bit longer. What it also allows them to do is, if you have the price here, knowing that you're not going to sell out from a pre-order perspective and have none of your allocation left when you actually get the product in your possession, it does allow you to create, the industry is able to kind of collude and create a higher floor across the board, across all retailers. They're able to kind of do a little bit of price setting, a little bit of collusion, and that allows them to take advantage of higher profit margins because they're able to sell some at this price rather than all of it at this price at release. So the last 2 years, this has gotten worse. I would say that this isn't based on me sifting through like hundreds or thousands of data points, but my general observation for baseball is that the hobby boxes, from a pre-order standpoint, the pre-ordering pricing is usually going to be higher than the release date pricing about 90% of the time. So this is going to vary by product. This is going to vary based on timing. It's going to vary based on retailer or entity that's selling the product, because Blowout will be different than Midwest Cards, which will be different from Chicagoland and all these other retailers. Sometimes they anchor their prices off of Blowout, at least for a short time period, something that I've noticed. But for the most part, especially over the last 2 years, people have been getting burnt more, I've noticed. In that window of time between the pre-order and the release date, economic conditions have worsened where, you know, we talked about inflationary environment, we've talked about people's purchasing power eroding and people being strapped for cash, debt increasing. Part of it is related to that. Part of it's also related to, you could call it irrational exuberance, where the value of the underlying contents has kind of gone down and the value of the sealed configuration has stayed the same or gone up. So a little bit of irrational exuberance, people willing to still pay record prices for breaks, for base cards and parallels that have fallen in value for an ROI that is substantially less perhaps than last year or 2 years ago. But also because of, there have been probably a bunch of negative surprises. So with a negative surprise, what I mean by that is that the actual product is different than what people expected it to be. So this could be based on higher than expected print run increases. It could be because of a worse than expected checklist. It could be because of performance of said players is a little bit of a disappointment. Again, people are expecting much more for these players when they're locking into these pre-orders, and then release date comes and, you know, Bobby Witt, he's having an okay year, but exit velocity is middle of the pack. There's some specific examples I have, like in 2020, Bowman Chrome created, and this was unexpected, I believe. They just kind of showed up in retail stores, the mega boxes. So the Bowman Chrome mega boxes, so it gave people an additional avenue to be able to pull those like base Bowman Chrome rookie cards, increasing the print run of those. With Topps Chrome in 2021, you had the light boxes. This year, you've got the Sonic and Logo Fractor editions, and these are things that a lot of people are seeing as like diluting value from the overall product. Not everybody, but some people see it as such. First edition surprised people with Topps this year. It surprised people in 2020 with Bowman. So some of this will add to cannibalization of that product and will hurt that original product. Some of it might not. You could say in 2019 Bowman Draft, when Sapphire came out, it didn't have autographs, so did it really cannibalize Bowman Draft? We could make a different video about that. In some cases though, the pre-ordering price does make sense. So we talked about how there's like a band, a window where that price will change. It'll be different from 3 months before release and 1 month before release and 6 to 9 months before release. The prices will often move a bit, but that band, you know, you're able to get in at a price that's favorable, and maybe you're not doing it 6 months in advance so your capital isn't tied up for as long, and maybe the price at release date actually goes up. So what are the factors that cause that? I think a lot of it is product specific. We talked about negative surprises of a product. There's also positive surprises. So if you take the inverse of what I was talking about before, where print run, instead of it going up above what the market expects, the print run actually stays the same, or it goes up by a minimal amount, or it maybe even goes down. So Bowman's Best is a product where they just don't create a whole lot of. Bowman Draft is another one where the print runs from year to year don't seem to go up more than like 10 to 15%. I think they've done a good job with that product. And it being hobby only, Of course, you've got Sapphire and you've got First Edition now. For the most part, you don't see people getting hosed with Bowman Draft or Bowman's Best as much as some other products. So maybe they're creating just enough. Bowman Chrome 2021, 2 to 4 weeks before release of that product, people kind of, myself, I was speculating that there could be a few additional names on this checklist that maybe people aren't expecting. There could be a lot of hitters in this checklist. And when the checklist came out, I would say that it was an above average kind of surprise, and the prices escalated because of that, of the sealed hobby boxes and HDAs. So again, pre-ordering is something that won't make sense for most of you, and it's something that's burning people more and more as time kind of goes on. And factoring in supply chain issues with delayed releases, that's exacerbating this issue, I think. So if you look at my last video where I talk about how there's risk in buying new releases of product, and I talked about in that video that usually release date plus 30 days, the price of that sealed product will go down since release. So if you really look at the entire timeline now, with the pre-order price usually starting here, then you've got the release date price being here, and then release date plus 30 to 60 days being here. You know, that pre-order price really hurts you if you look at it from that perspective, and out 60 days after release. And again, this isn't for all products I'm talking about, but I'd say roughly 90% of products over the last 2 years that have come out have been cheaper at release date versus pre-order, and cheaper at release date plus 30 to 60 days versus release date. All right, guys, let me know what you think down below. Am I crazy? Is what I'm saying resonating with you guys? Like, comment, subscribe. Curious to understand your thoughts. Thanks for watching, guys. Filmington out.